Hello, everyone. Welcome back to MLS Moves. Please make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We had another exciting week of Major League Soccer. A couple teams were eliminated from the playoffs. Couple teams still have a chance, but honestly, heading into this last full week of Major League Soccer Decision Day, which is 2 weeks away, there's a lot of teams that are pretty much, booted out of the playoff contention, especially in the Western Conference. The Eastern Conference is pretty competitive, and the Western Conference does have a couple spots where it's a battle between ninth and fifth. But the Eastern Conference is really the only conference that's battling for those last two playoff spots. But first off, I want to start off with Toronto FC and Inter Miami. Inter Miami rested a lot of their starters like Messi and Suarez and Busquets because they played a congested schedule recently, and they weren't really trying to win the or break that MLS record of 73 points by the New England Revolution. That's at least what it seemed like, especially with the lineup that they put out. When Christoph is in the starting 11, you know that it's like not necessarily conceding, but they're not necessarily trying their best to win because Christoph is absolutely washed at this point in his career. But even with CJ Dos Santos starting and all these players playing that aren't traditional starters, they were able to still win this game. They were able to get the win with a beautiful pass from Luis Suarez to Leonardo Campana. At the last part of the game, I think it was like the 86th minute, they were able to score, and they were able to get 71 points, 33 games throughout the season, and one more win, and they've got the MLS record for most points. And what's beautiful about this, if you like stories, right now, some people are going to say that the script writers wrote it like this, right? All the conspiracy theorists, but they're going to play the New England Revolution the last game of the season to break the MLS record for most points in a season. They've currently got 71. The record's 73. The New England Revolution have that record at 71 points or 73 points that was broken in 2021. And they're going to have a chance to beat the team with that record to have the 74-point MLS single season points record. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens in 2 weeks from decision day. It's going to be a close call to see if they try to go for it. I would say with a 2 weeks rest that they probably will play their best 11 to try to get that record. And also, what about Toronto FC? Toronto FC, they're done. They're going to miss the playoffs. It's sad because of John Herdman was a hire. After he had much success with the Canadian national team, giving the USMNT a run for their money and beating the USMNT more than any other Canadian coach has in its history. And they still fall short. 37 points. Toronto FC has been an absolute disaster the last 3 years. Bob Bradley didn't work. They fired Bill Manning. And then John Herdman was supposed to come in here and really solidify things and help them out and give them a new identity, a confidence, right? And they missed the playoffs. They didn't really add anything this year. They were supposed to add a DP this summer. That didn't work out. Lorenzo Insigne has been arguably the biggest bust in MLS history, especially with his $14.4 million price tag. And Federico Bernardeschi didn't even play in this match. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Toronto, see if they clean house or see what happens. I know John Herdman's not going to go anywhere. I think he's at least going to get one more full season to really build this team, but they're going to have to do a complete overhaul. They're going to have to build this team from the bottom up. And it's an embarrassing season, especially with the price tag and the salary that they have, that they're missing the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see what Toronto FC does this offseason. Now, moving on to the Columbus Crew in the Philadelphia Union. Columbus Crew obviously lost a heartbreaker to Inter Miami that would have given them a chance to win the Supporter Shield. Cucho Hernandez missed a crucial penalty. Didn't have his best game, but he bounced back in this game and he had two headers. When's the last time you can remember scoring a brace with two headers, especially a guy that's like 5'9"? That's very impressive. Cucho Hernandez definitely had a great bounce back game, beating a Philadelphia Union that's currently out of the playoffs at this moment, which is kind of hard to believe. They still have a chance to make the playoffs. It's going to come down to decision day if they're going to be able to make it over Toronto or over Montreal or DC United. They have the goal difference advantage. So if they're able to, one of those teams are able to lose and they're able to win, they'll make the playoffs. But Cucho Hernandez, I forgot to mention this earlier with Miami. I still have Messi in my MVP power rankings. He's still number one. I think you have to give it to him with the stats and with Miami finishing first place in the entire league. Cucho Hernandez is going to finish second, though. I mean, Cucho Hernandez is having a great season. He's got like 18 goals and 14 or 13 or 14 assists. He's having a great season, and his team is the second best team in the Eastern Conference, which I think is the best conference in the league. So Cucho Hernandez is second place in my MVP power rankings. I think you have to put him there, but Messi's got this thing locked up. If it were up to me, it was my vote. Messi's got this locked up. Cucho Hernandez is number two. And like I said, the Philadelphia Union will be playing on decision day to try to get that final playoff spot in the 2024 MLS Cup playoffs. Now, moving on to LA Galaxy. LA Galaxy are perfect at home this year. LA Galaxy are one win away from clinching the Western Conference title, or at least being the first seed in the Western Conference. And anybody in the Western Conference are going to have to play through Dignity Health Sports Park to make it to the MLS Cup. So that's great for them, especially since they haven't lost. I mean, this team is firing on all cylinders. They're playing really well right now. Ricky Puig is playing very well. Gabriel Peck's playing well. Joveljic is playing out of his mind. It's good to see him healthy again. If Marco Royce can get healthy and play, this team is a force to be reckoned with. They also, I don't know if you caught this, they also qualified for the CONCACAF Champions Cup or Champions League. It's the same thing, just a different name. And this is the first time they played in this tournament since 2016. So we will have both LA teams playing in this tournament. Austin FC has been a complete disaster the last 2 years after that great 2022 season when Driussi was the runner-up for MVP. Josh Wolff has been finally fired. A lot of fans have been wanting this for a long time. Anthony Precourt, for some reason, was loyal to Josh Wolff longer than he should have been. But we'll see what happens and what direction they go. I'm not a hater. I just don't think the domestic coach is where it needs to be right now. I think that we need to hire foreign coaches because they just have a better perspective of the game. They can really help elevate maybe the coaching and show it, set a standard. I think they need to make an outside hire. I don't really like any of the MLS coaches available or assistant coaches. I think they need to make an outside hire. They need to do it because they tried Josh Wolff, the assistant coach route. It didn't work out for them. Had one good year out of three. They need to hire a coach outside, and there's plenty of options where they can go. Hopefully they can get it turned around because it's been a pretty bad 2 years for Austin FC, and you have to feel for their fan base. Now, LAFC is another team that's getting red hot right now. LAFC had obviously a couple heartbreaking games and lost the league's cup final, and a lot of people were concerned about how they were kind of limping into the final stretch of the season. But they're on fire right now, and they beat Sporting Kansas City 3-0. Business as usual. David Martinez is an absolute talent gem, whatever you may call him. He is going to be a special player for this team. The 18-year-old Venezuelan has got like 5 games and so odd minutes in the last couple. 5 goals in the last couple games. He's really turning it on, and I'm excited to see what happens with him. Obviously, with the depth they have at the winger position, it's going to be harder for him to earn those minutes. But if he keeps playing like this, they're not going to be able to deny him minutes. So LAFC is trending. Both LA teams are trending up at the right time heading into the playoffs. And LAFC technically are not out of the contention for the first place in the Western Conference. If the LA Galaxy lose their last game and LAFC win their final 2 games, and they have the goal difference advantage, which LA Galaxy currently have a 3-goal difference advantage over LAFC, they could still be the first place team in the Western Conference. It's going to be interesting to see what happens down the stretch, especially on decision day. So I think that it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Both LA teams are hot. And if you're MLS in the league, you're definitely liking this because that's what you want. You want your biggest brands to be good and representing in the playoffs. Now, I don't know about the fan perspective. Obviously, some of you guys don't want these big LA teams or these big market teams to do good, and you want to bounce them, embarrass them, get them out of the playoffs. But from a league perspective, they're definitely happy to see that. Now, moving on to Sporting Kansas City, they've officially been eliminated from the playoffs. Peter Vermees is an MLS 1.0 manager. Let me know if you think of that down below. Comment down below. Is Peter Vermees an MLS 1.0 manager? If you don't know what that means, it means that he is a dinosaur in this league, okay? He's not evolved. He's not forward thinking. He hasn't adapted to the new game. He is in the old mindset. All right. Peter Vermees has been this manager for 15 years. Okay. I've been ranting about this. He is not good. He has a stranglehold on this ownership and this team because he's got every title in the book you possibly can have. And they haven't been good in years. They haven't won an MLS Cup since 2013. And yet he's treated like royalty. They have 31 points this year. They're currently sitting 13th in the Western Conference. The only team that they're doing better than in the Western Conference is San Jose, and San Jose is going to get the wooden spoon. They could potentially finish with the worst record in the league, or second worst record in the league. Sporting Kansas City could. So Peter Vermees has got to go. They need a breath of fresh air. They need to see what life is after Peter Vermees because what he's doing is not working. They got to build it. They got to break it down and build it back up because what is happening in Sporting Kansas City is a travesty. The days of Graham Zusi and Matt Beasler are long gone. They're long gone. Those days are way behind them. So it's sad, honestly. Now to go through a couple other scores through the week, Minnesota United beat Vancouver 1-0. Atlanta United beat the Red Bulls 2-1. Charlotte FC beat Montreal 2-0. Orlando City beat Cincinnati 3-1. Cincinnati's really struggling heading into the playoffs. I'm actually concerned about them. They were a team that I was considering could be a potential MLS Cup contender, but man, they are really struggling down the stretch. DC United beat New England 2-1. Now, DC United is a team that's in 8th place right now. They have to win their final game if they want to guarantee a playoff spot because they have a minus 15 goal difference. Now, Christian Benteke is going to win the Golden Boot. He's got 23 goals this year, so he's pretty much got it wrapped up. But they've got to win this final game if they want to make the MLS Cup playoffs. St. Louis City SC beat Houston Dynamo 3-0. Seattle beats Colorado 1-0. Seattle's really picked it up. They struggled so bad. They were a terrible team at the beginning of the season, and now they're in 3rd place in the Western Conference. What a complete turnaround by LAFC. RSL beat San Jose 1-0. New York City FC beat Nashville 3-1. And finally, Portland Dallas ended in a 0-0 draw. Now, Portland has already guaranteed a playoff spot. They're going to be the 9th seed. But if they had won this game, they could have went up as far as like maybe 6th, maybe even 5th. That really hurts them with their playoff positioning. They're most likely they're gonna play in that play-in game, the 8th versus 9th seed, to play the 1st seed, which is probably gonna be the LA Galaxy. So it's not ideal. So that's your weekly recap. This is the final or second to last full week of MLS games. Decision day will be the last week. I'm probably gonna end up doing some type of long stream, especially hopefully if I'm healthy and not sick by then. I'm gonna do a long stream on decision day just to keep up with what everything's going on because it should be interesting to see what happens and who gets eliminated. But let me know, how are you feeling about your team right now? Got all kinds of different supporters of different teams who follow this channel, subscribe to this channel. Let me know how you feel about your team heading into the final week decision day. Are you optimistic? And who do you think's MVP of the 2024 MLS season? Comment down below. I appreciate all the support, guys. And I'm sorry again about being sick. I'm trying to get healthy and trying to get over this hump of this sore throat and scratchy voice. So yeah, guys, I appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think down below. And until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.